reminded me, there's like 3 pieces of paper that you can sign, so anybody leaves without signing. They're here somewhere.
Nobody leaves until everything's signed tonight.
And then we have plexiglass to move, and it's bigger than I am, weighs more than I do, so please don't do it that time.
But at least you can go forward now, or not quite yet. Wait till the count. And I suppose we're probably leaving.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I knew you were going to do that. You didn't give me bacon or something. You didn't bring me any. What's that? And you didn't like?
Kevin?
Here.
Nicole? Here. Tom?
Here.
Bob?
Here.
Rod?
Here. Approval of the town board meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve January 10th, 2021 minutes.
Huh? Should be 2022?
Yes, and then 2022. Thank you.
I was looking for somebody.
Right.
It's gonna be the last.
It's right on top of the minutes though. It's right there.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for January 2022. Any further discussion? Since there is none, I'll vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All against say nay. Ayes have it. Dorothy, report.
Okay, well, I see that we're thing for the January 7th, which we haven't had an actual plan commission meeting since that one. But 4 of us did go up to the ERC meeting on February 1st, because that was where the county, their ERC, their committee passed our resolution to accept the 2 lists for the comp plan. It did pass there was no questions, but they did have a draft of the new rules and stuff for chapter 17. It did not pass, it got tabled because there's some issues with storage containers. One township did not like the ones that say China or any graffiti on the side. They weren't aesthetically to the rest of the buildings. But I think it would be a good idea to kind of glance over this, because this is your chance as a board to make any recommendations or have your input. If you're all aware or not, farmland preservation, you have to get a conditional use permit to put up a hunting or fishing shelter. General ag, no, but farmland preservation areas do. And I know if anybody goes driving through any parts of this township or anyone else that's in farmland preservation, there's an awful lot of hunting shacks. So far, the assessors have not done anything about it, but it's on the books.
And
Like I
that's
said,
new. That's new.
well, it's in there, so I mean, make sure, you know, you're aware of what's
What's the
happening.
definition of a hunting
Pardon?
shack? What's the definition of a hunting shack?
I'm
There is no
thinking what they're
definition.
looking at is like permanent deer stands.
You know,
Yeah.
you're sitting there on
Built
farm
one
poles.
is not a tree stand that you lean in a tree, I'm
Right.
guessing it's
you know, the four.
Or is it these little shacks that
Poles and-
people have built that they got a little wood stove in that they can heat themselves, warm themselves?
And that would
in?
probably
That would-
qualify.
it probably would.
That's what they consider, because I had to get that conditional use permit.
Okay.
But I would think the elevated stand is a little different, because those can be portable.
The portable ones, probably no problem, because your son always brings in a portable.
No, but I'm talking, some of these elevated stands, you can disassemble them and move them or just pick them up.
You probably have to talk to the county about that.
Yeah, they do have definitions for hunting and fishing shacks, and they can't have permanent electricity in them, they don't have you have to, if you're gonna be like an outhouse or something, it has to be an approved septic system in the position of.
Well, just so you're aware, also one of the things that had been requested, and this came from some of the citizens in the township, and contractors should be aware of the size of shed doors. 12 foot. How many of you got campers that'll fit in a 12-foot door? No, you don't, Bob, right?
It fits.
It fit?
Just.
Yeah, only because the
Stick of butter.
the pavement in front of the shop is 2
Yeah.
inches lower. So by the time the air conditioner clears, I can come in.
Yeah, but I mean, you know,
But yeah,
and
no, I
it
had the same concern.
had been requested that the county look at this to put it up to a 14-foot sidewall door. And they, you know, Dominic said, oh, you know, that's a good idea.
But when I built mine 4 years ago, they said that was what they were considering at that time. I'm surprised it
Right,
didn't actually
and because
happen.
people did not step forward, anybody else speak, it didn't change.
They
So
haven't approved that yet, have they?
No, but see, now
That's why you
it
need to
got,
get involved.
didn't get passed, so this might be your chance to, you know, put in a little input, take a little, it only takes about 3 hours to read it. I know everybody's got 3 hours on their time, but anyways, that's what we did.
Whose bright idea is it up there, or who come up with this idea? This door thing and this gear stand thing and all that?
Those have been on the books for a long time, a lot of it. Oh, yeah, you know, but
Yeah, the
nobody,
eve height and door of a outbuilding, if you're non-ag,
well,
is limited. It's
right.
been that way for a while.
but, you know,
Yeah.
and they're, like I
And they
said,
should increase the size of that.
because most residential
They
people
just-
that have a camper,
Campers that are, you
A
know.
lot of retirees, if they are
They
snowbirds,
don't-
they
they
got a
don't fit.
pusher, diesel pusher motorhome, it won't fit in a
Right.
12-foot door.
and the rules for the size of buildings on residential has not changed. That stays exactly the same as it has been.
So this new one you were talking about, I might have missed part of what you said, it had to do with the steel containers?
Yep, that's about bringing in storage units, rentable ones.
So there's nothing currently on the books and they're proposing
Nope.
to add
They're
something?
proposing to add that, and it's a 90-day temporary permit. But I can't remember which town it was, but they were pretty adamant against them. Ag land, you can't refuse it, but rural residential, yes, you can. So these are, you know, things that we need to kind of keep aware of, what's happening. Okay.
Thank you.
Garbage?
I did receive an email from Steve about Marshfield Saddle Club, and I was trying to, I didn't call him yet, I was looking through all of my notes. I know we had, this came up on one of our previous town board meetings, but I went all the way back in November, I can't find it in the meeting minutes.
My understanding is that you have a garbage bin and a recycle bin, they don't use it, but it doesn't excuse them from paying it, and I think that's the way it's worded.
Yeah, and I think,
Yeah.
I'm wanting to see the verbiage of what we had discussed and what our decision was, and my memory is that anybody who has a postal address that can have service has to pay for it.
Mhm.
Because if we took the scenario and says, okay, because they don't use the service, we're gonna forgive it. Well, then the guy sells it, some new owner takes over and he wants garbage, he goes to Advanced Disposal or whoever they're now, and they give him a container, and now they're getting free garbage because they're not paying for it on their taxes.
Yeah.
And for us to track that, I think it's gonna be difficult and challenging.
We'll have this conversation a year from
We did already.
now. Yeah.
It was
We've
either
done this in the
January
past.
or February of 2021 that this came up, because the same individual called last year.
It's a yearly thing,
I thought we talked about it like just within the last month.
but the previous board did too.
I think it was more like the summer
I do too.
that we talked about.
Because it's not, you know, if somebody just has a 40 acres of property and there's no postal address, they don't get charged for
Right.
garbage. But if
Right.
you have a postal address where you actually have a fire number,
Then you get charged
you
for
get
it,
charged for,
whether you use it or you don't.
right.
Yeah.
That's a service that we have to provide and as a group, that's how we decided, so.
And if you do speak to her, what she tells you is correct, because I confirmed that last year with Advanced. They do have a bin, but they don't set it up. And the driver confirmed that they don't pick it up. But that's not, I mean, that's just like, good point that Steve brought up earlier this week. The churches that aren't charged tax also don't get a special assessment because they don't get a tax bill. That's a service, not a tax.
They should be getting billed.
And we talked about going over that, going over the list with you and seeing how you want to do that and get it in front of the board.
So we don't charge for churches that get garbage
They're not
service?
a tax.
So
Well,
the
they
issue
don't
is,
get a tax bill, so, and that's where the garbage shows up.
and the issue was raised because the new pastor for the Lutheran church asked for an additional recycle bin. So when that took place, Steve sent them an invoice for $20 a year, and they came back and they said, hey, we don't pay this, we don't pay taxes. And we're like, wait a minute, what about the rest of them? And
How many churches do we have?
I think there's 5 or 6.
5 or 6 churches and 1 mosque. Bob, can you take care of the mosque?
Sounds like we'll have to put that on a future agenda. That's all I got.
Library, Nicole.
So there was no library meeting on January 20th due to lack of agenda items there. For awareness, I will not be at the March 14th meeting. I will be on an airplane, so I will not be able to join this meeting next month, but I'm sure you'll have enough for a quorum, so it should be okay. That's all I have as well. Actually, I take that back. Debbie sent me information about a water test that municipalities can take. I didn't have a chance to read it. Do you have?
We don't have municipal water,
Oh.
okay? But what they're checking for is the foam in the wells. In the water, yeah, that PFAS,
PFAS.
yeah. So that's what I want you aware of,
Okay.
Okay.
because I think, what was it, Rib Mountain? Is it Rib Mountain?
Wausau.
Wausau.
They're having huge issues with that, so.
So you found something that,
I sent it to you too.
okay,
You didn't read it either?
I did not read it, no.
I
But, well,
skimmed it, but I didn't.
the question, if you just indulge me on this, so it's a place we can send a water
No.
sample to?
Well, yeah, actually, I think,
Test
I
it?
don't know, you'd have to check with that because it's for municipalities, so I don't know
Okay,
I
I don't know, I just-
Funding.
okay. Because it is expensive to get that test done. And I'm thinking it's like, starts at like $400 and it goes up from there.
I don't know.
So, okay.
That one, you might wanna, that's through the state, wasn't it, Patty? Was that Governor Evers that sent that
Yeah.
out?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I can take a look at it and email you, Patty, with what I discover. And it can be brought forward
I
next
didn't read
month.
it. Did you read it? I didn't.
I seen it, but we're gonna get to
I
it.
got to municipality water and I went, we don't have that one.
And I said to her, I said, you didn't read it all.
We might be able to get our single little well taken care of, or 2 wells.
Exactly.
It's municipal water.
Well, have them
It's not
check for
shared
their
water,
foam. That's what you want them to look for, any contamination from that.
Right?
The PFAS.
That's the issue,
Mhm.
yeah.
So I can look into it and let you know what I find out.
Thank you.
So that's really all I have now.
You're gonna be on a plane, is it gonna land any place, or are you just
I
gonna
hope
ride?
so.
Are you just gonna ride around?
Wave as you go by.
I will.
The other thing is you were kind of heading up the newsletter. Is there anything you wanted to state there?
Oh, good call. So the newsletter, it's gonna be coming due to be sent out in April. So if anybody has items that they want on the newsletter, please get them to me by March 14th. If you want them sooner, I'll take them sooner than March 14th if you have information. So I assume that's everybody up here. Dorothy.
I have a question. Are they planning on having a picnic the last Sunday of July? You might want to put that in the newsletter.
Oh, good call.
We'll discuss that with the picnic committee.
What's that? What did he say?
Mumbling.
Yeah, what are you mumbling about?
I'll discuss that with the picnic committee. What day we're,
Last Sunday in July, whatever it is. That's what we've been going with.
I assume that's something we need to vote on.
No? Oh.
Patty, is the hall reserved?
No,
Knew you were gonna answer that.
Oh,
last Sunday of July is the 31st, and the week before that is the 24th. Both are open.
That's a done deal, ain't it, or?
31st sounds good?
Do we have to vote on this, or
Sounds good to me.
what's the deal?
Because I think before that is Edgar Steam Show Days. I think that's, runs into the weekend before that. I think I looked
I
it
think
up.
it's usually after. The steam show's usually after.
Yep.
After
It's in
what?
August.
Is it in August now?
Third weekend in August.
Steam show days is in August.
Third weekend.
There was something that's in July, but I looked, was it Hub City?
Be before.
Oh, yeah, Hub City.
My
Days.
vacation.
4th of July is a couple of weeks
Shut
earlier.
the hell up.
First weekend.
Trying to help.
No, you're not. And I can tell you that.
No, back to my question, is it a done deal, that the community picnic, or no?
we budgeted for it.
Huh?
We
Well,
did put a
actually, we
budget
took
for
it out of there and we put it in roads with the suggestion that you take it out of the pavilion savings account.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
I know I am.
Yeah.
So the 31st sounds good? Unofficially, officially? Everybody?
Sounds good to me.
I think we
Anybody?
need
Yeah.
a motion, but it's just.
Yes, Dorothy?
How has the renting been going on the pavilion for the winter?
Have a few.
There's a few, slow but steady, maybe
Good.
2 a month
That's
Oh,
good.
so
good.
far.
It's a nice startup.
Good, good.
That way we know if the water's been freezing.
I'm getting that, hang on.
Nicole, you want me to write a letter for the picnic?
Oh, sure. If you would, that'd be great. I was just looking at the last one we sent back in April last year.
I don't think there was anything in there because we didn't have. Otherwise, you don't get anything out until August
Right.
for the next newsletter, so.
Would you be able to find out if Adam can write something for the newsletter?
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. And I can send out a reminder too, to remind people, because I know everybody gets busy.
When did you want that? You'll be sending out
March
reminders the
14th,
Yeah.
13th.
No later than March 14th, preferably earlier.
You want it tomorrow?
A month from
Well, I don't need
today.
it that soon.
Is that it, Nicole?
Yeah, that's really it now.
Okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
So we had one rental, we've been periodically stopping, to check on things, and at whim, after work, when it was cold, I stopped, and it was cold inside the building. And I had no water, one of the toilets had, was plugged. Brought the torpedo heater down, got that taken care of. I went in, I thought the breaker was off. It was red like it popped, but I did not have to reset it. There was garbage all over inside, or like carpet fiber. I called Dorothy to see if she's seen anything, and through the whole process, some stuff was outside, whatever. It wasn't a rental. They had stuff hanging up around the gazebo. But somehow the furnace was not running. The Christmas lights are on, so now if it drops below a temperature, hopefully everybody driving past can see it. We called Steenie, Rod come up, and we were just, don't know why or what happened. It should have popped the breaker on the furnace before it popped the breaker in the fuse box. Alex, there was only two things on that. One was the furnace, and the other was the light for the utility room, and Alex took that and moved that. So the furnace is only on its own breaker. And the breaker in the fuse box, what was it, Rod? 15, but the one on the furnace is a 10, so it should have popped on the furnace before anything happened in the fuse box.
Somebody wouldn't have turned that off, would they?
But it was red.
That doesn't answer my question. Did somebody go in there and,
I don't know how,
They would have to have shorted the circuit.
yeah, they would have had to short something out.
Is it
But again, I
possible-
didn't have to reset the breaker. I went like this.
hmm,
And if it pops, it should be red and halfway.
Mhm.
You have to reset the entire thing, and I didn't have to do that, so I don't.
Yeah.
Possibly power surge?
that could be.
Should have blown the fuse on the furnace before it got to the fuse box.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know. Steenie did put the vent, I didn't get the keys back from him yet, so I didn't get in there and look, but there should be a vent in the utility room now off there, so that's getting more heat. They said no water pressure, so it was a scramble whether the pipes were froze inside, outside, I don't know. I crawled down in the hole, I had water down there, so I said the torpedo heater ran for a little bit inside and the water was good. Took a while to heat back up, but it's been good. The furnace was serviced here, finally he got to it, he's been busy, so.
Phil must have left, because I know Phil mentioned that when they go by, and he goes by probably as much as anybody, he always checks to make sure he sees the exhaust working. You know, because he's the one who had said that there was quite a few people there on this one Sunday that I told you about.
Yeah, and they shoveled out the back to get to the gazebo,
Yeah, they
whatever.
were on the
It's
gazebo
public
and stuff.
park, can't, I don't,
You know, but
I don't know, but I think I think we dodged the bullet. I think if it would have been, nobody stopping. Just happened to check because it was getting cold. That was that cold snap, so I mean, it was that close to having a
part of
disaster.
being a good citizen, you guys stopping up there,
Doing your job. But
just mumbling again.
Yeah.
doing our job.
Uh-huh. I was gonna say, you get paid for this crap, do it.
So it was, I think we dodged the bullet. It just timing wise worked out and it got taken care of, so,
Better than busted pipes.
yeah.
Wow. That's not a bullet.
Sure.
Okay. Adam was not able to be here tonight due to some other conflicts.
What about Tom?
Highway.
Oh, sorry. Highway.
Okay, go ahead. I have a couple things. One thing I'll save until the financial report stuff. The plumber, Schreiner, he did get back to me last week. He does have a price for a water softener and/or filter system for the fire department. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy because his secretary had to have surgery on her knee, so she's out for 2 weeks, and he does not do that paperwork. So, I do have a price of $1,500, which is for a water softener or treatment. And that's hooking everything up, and off of the pressure tank, I believe he was going to hook up a pipe ready to go for an 1.25 inch pipe out into the fire station for future use if they wanted to do that. So, but he said as soon as the secretary comes back in, he will give me a formal bid for that on letterhead. I did follow up with Russ as far as the foam. He called me back and we talked for a little bit. I asked him if I could come over and we could sit and talk about the issues with foam. And basically what he told me is that he doesn't have any real specifics. It's information that he has gone online and looked up, and it just concerns him. So I actually did go online, and I took a picture of the container of the foam that we use over here, and I looked it up online, and I printed off the sheets on it. So if people want copies of that, I can give them copies of it. I didn't find, on the one foam, I did not find any issues with it, and that's the foam, the more mild foam. In fact, it even has in there where you can use it in water and it doesn't hurt fish, or marine life, or your animals. It's biodegradable. So the cleanup, from what I'm reading, isn't much for that one. The other foam, I think, is gonna have issues with it, and that's why they don't use it that often. I have called 2 fire departments to see what they use. I talked to the fire chief in Eagle River, and they use the same exact 2 foams that we use. And I called the fire department down on the outside of Milwaukee, and he said they were using the one foam that was more corrosive, and they switched to one foam that does everything that is less corrosive than the bad one, but a little bit more corrosive than the one that we use. And that's all I've done as far as following up on foam. If anybody has questions, like I said, I do have print off of what the actual foam is that we have.
Do you think we
It's
should
like an
be-
SDS sheet, basically.
I had a question for you. Do you think we should be using it in our township, any of the foam?
I don't see a problem with I think it's Class A,
Class A.
which is the better of the 2. I don't think I personally see, I'm not an expert on this, so I'm just giving what I read and talked to people.
So you wouldn't have any problem with it in your well water?
Personally,
Personally?
no, not with A.
Okay,
B, I would, yes.
okay.
And B is the one that, when I talked to the fire chief in Milwaukee, or outside of Milwaukee, it's not Milwaukee, he said that the one they were using, the more corrosive one, he said that they very seldom use down there. Also, there's more, if I remember how he told me this right now, I thought he told me they use it on like car fires. So if, for instance, you come into a job site or into a site and a car is on fire, it's next to a house or next to a garage or in a garage, they would use it to put that fire out so that it wouldn't engulf the building or get into the building that's burning. That's next to the burning vehicle or whatever it is. He did use it in other issues, in other areas, but he said that was the number one thing they actually used it for. It's just to douse it, get it out fast, so that fire didn't spread. That's the way I understood it. But again, with all this stuff going on, they have changed their foams in the last couple of years, and now they get one foam that is an all-around foam that's not as mild as the one, and not as corrosive as the other.
But that second one is actually A plus B. I've looked that up too.
Okay.
And it's not a matter of being corrosive. Corrosive suggests that it
You're
dissolves
correct.
something.
Yes.
It has carcinogenic activity in it.
Yep.
And it's because it's like the PCB issue, and it's like the thing you're looking at in the well water.
Right, that was
Exactly.
Yep,
But it's A plus B. That's what that's the in-between thing that they.
exactly.
So
It's
you're
in
putting,
between.
so let's say you're using half as much B or whatever it is, the carcinogenic effect is still there.
And that's why I don't think I would even recommend going to that middle one. I think I would recommend doing
I just
A.
wanted to be clear about that,
And you're
because I did
absolutely
look
right,
it up.
and like I said, I'm not an expert on this, so I'm just kind of going off of what I read and what I talked to people about. I guess I would not recommend going to the middle one, because it has some of that B in there. And that's the stuff we don't want.
It's a combination.
Well, I'll tell you what, if
So-
you want a real surprise, call your insurance company and ask if they'll do the cleanup on the B. I called mine, I haven't got a response yet.
Yeah. That I don't know.
Well, my thought on that is, years ago, and this is the same principle, they were, saying Roundup is some of the greatest thing in the world and blah, 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 but now you got tort lawyers advertising on TV.
Yeah.
If you used Roundup, you're gonna die from cancer.
Right.
So all of a sudden, not so down the road, we'll get to see a tort lawyer say, well, Tom Seifert said you can use this foam, but you're gonna die. So, same principle.
Yeah.
What,
Agent Orange.
the bottom line is still, you're talking a lot of cost, and you're talking, what the hell is the matter with water? And you said about, if there's a car fire in the other garage or something, well, the goddamn garage could go up anyhow, so let it go. Pour water on it. To me, it makes absolutely no sense. And then you got the crybabies over there whining about the spots on their mirror. What about this foam? What's that gonna do to them? The ones that are the firefighters.
Mhm.
I'm totally against it. I just think that's wrong.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I personally can go down the line and talk about all the chemicals I've been in my whole life. And I know that being in the business I've been in my whole life, I'm gonna have issues. Probably starting very soon. I know I really do have issues, but anyway, health issues.
Avoided it.
From some of the stuff that I've been into.
Mhm.
And I have to believe, and again, I'm not a firefighter, I never have been. I'm guessing that they probably know that being in that business, that they're gonna have some issues too, because of the stuff they're around. I mean, just smoke itself. You don't even know what you're inhaling when you're around the
Okay,
fire.
so if they know that they're gonna have these issues, then the township would be liable.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, if they.
I mean, you
can't
can't go into that business and think
And
that
not
you're not
know.
going to.
I agree.
As I can't go into my business thinking that I'm gonna be fine.
So why in the hell would anybody want to expose these people to anything that's hazardous? It makes absolutely zero sense. I know you're really big on this foam. You think that's the greatest thing since canned pizzas, but it makes no sense. Absolutely no sense. Why expose these, most of these are young people. Why expose them to this? Because most young people don't know what they're at from a hole in the ground, and they are not aware. It makes absolutely zero sense to me.
They don't understand it and they think they're invincible. We all know how it is to be a teenager.
Sure.
Could be, I don't know.
And like what you said, they're exposed to smoke and who knows it all.
I said when you were 15.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, you can go down the list, and it's just, I said I'd follow up on it, and this is the information I got. I'm definitely not an expert on this. I just followed up on some of the stuff that was thrown out here, and I wanted to get back to you guys and let you know that. I did talk to Russ because Russ did have an issue, and he did get upset, and he did leave that meeting, and we did talk, and I think after our talk, he was good, and I think he was glad that we reached out to him and talked to him. But he did say straight out that he doesn't have any specific anything that he can give me, it's just stuff that he has read also. So,
He's suffering in Switzerland right now, I think.
yeah, he told me he was taking off like real soon. I did call Jim at the county and ask him about, we went to the meeting this last month here, and he had mentioned that there's money out there for bridges and such. And so I reached out to him and talked to him about a bridge we have on Stott down by the meat factory down there. And he knows that bridge, and he says he considers that a culvert because of the size of it. So if we wanted to do something with that, it wouldn't fall under the parameters of what this money is set aside for. So I had asked him a couple more questions when I had him on the phone, and Patty and I are trying to get a meeting with his secretary to go over a list of stuff that we have, and hopefully we'll have it this next month, and I can bring it to the next meeting. But we just have questions on different things, and Jim said that his secretary would do a very good job in either answering them or pointing us in the right direction.
Yeah.
So,
Well, if it's a bridge and they consider it a culvert, then it can be replaced with a bottomless culvert.
I don't know, I'll have to
Yeah.
look at it.
Bottomless culvert's bridge.
Well, you got,
Yes and no, except there's like 1,000 10,000 volts and nuts that we gotta put together.
Yeah.
What are we doing? You rip out the existing thing and it's big, thick galvanized structure that
Yeah.
we bolt panels together and it gets set in there and then it's the bottom is spoken.
So,
Doesn't the county normally tell us when we can get a bridge? They do the inspections, am I correct?
No,
I don't think they do the inspections on all the bridges. I think,
they contract to have them done.
Yeah.
KEIS doesn't.
Okay. But they basically tell us when we can do it, am I correct?
Well, they basically apply for the federal funding
Right.
through the state and
Yeah.
administer the whole project. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
well, what they
Short
have
answer
right
is
now,
yes. Short answer is yes.
the program they have right now is that they want the townships to hire engineers to engineer these bridges and then give it to them so that they can fast track it for this money. That's what they're looking at.
Well, that's what, $50,000 bill?
I'm surprised the county doesn't take care of that themselves.
So,
Which bridge are you talking about?
there's one down on south of 97 that we had early in the year when we had all that rain. Both sides of this thing were washing out and pushed rock back in
No,
there.
that ain't the one right by Northern Processing, is it, or is it?
Yes.
one further down? Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yep. Yep. So that was, it was on the radar, so I asked the question and it didn't fall into the
I'm just wondering.
parameters. So,
Was that replaced? No?
not that I am aware
Okay.
of. Recently?
I don't know.
You mean during the flood?
Or the year, the 100-year flood.
Oh,
No, it wasn't. It was repacked with material and
That's all I have.
Well, I get to add to yours.
Hmm?
I get to add to yours. Did you get a letter from Wood County?
Yes,
Is that in your report?
yes,
Okay, sorry. I meant, oh.
but go ahead. Want me to grab it?
No, but yeah, it probably decided it is right now, so.
quick question, Tom, did you have a price on that filter?
I personally do not know.
Okay.
He has that information, and again,
Mhm.
he just apologizes that,
I know you had it for the water softener, but I didn't.
yeah. He did tell me that he would not recommend the filter, because the filter that would take and do what they're looking at, and he gave me, between like $300 and $400 for this filter,
That's not you.
and it was replaceable by how much water you use, and he was afraid that you would actually burn out so much money replacing that filter for the amount of water used, that it wouldn't be worth it. But he did get a price on that filter.
Okay.
And their brand new filters just out on the market within the last couple of years. And he has used them twice in the residential setting, but nothing in a commercial setting.
Okay.
is there one copy left on your account of the report?
Pardon?
And that went down close to the Patty.
Tom, did you get a hold of Aaron's Plumbing to look at that?
No, but Bob had talked to him and said that he was very busy right now.
He's what?
He was very busy right now, yes.
At least you put it out there,
Yep, he was actually swamped, was his words.
to show that we're not married to rivals.
Yep.
As I stated, Adam's not able to be here tonight. He did give us a report. They had one fire, they had 3 mutual aid calls, 2 motor vehicle accidents, 4 EMS calls, and 1 false alarm. No current movement on any new members. The fire training for this next month here will be fire suppression tactics. And under EMS, they said to be mindful of the cold tempers and dress accordingly.
And the mutual aid, did they call us or we call them?
They called us.
For the fire, one fire, is that we only showed up, or was that part of the mutual aid that happened in Stratford?
No, the
Or
one
Spencer?
fire call, that would be one of the mutual aids or Mavis calls.
Oh, okay.
Our fire call is in the township.
Okay.
Steve?
The accounts reconciled, the restricted savings account, the new one, was populated with $110,000 of change. I transferred $1,800 out of the park fund, an annual event, and the profit from the, or no, not the profit, I guess the expenses from Fall Fest was transferred to the fire department of the savings account. And we've got a $236,000 year-end balance that we just had to do it.
He's still on for the bridge, though, right?
Is that bridge in that money?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the other question I was gonna bring up. After last month, I saw these numbers and started thinking about the bridge money. I called Jim and asked him, because we haven't really received anything on that bridge yet, a couple smaller bills, nothing serious.
I asked Patty what we spent on that, and I think she said the total's been like 176,000
As of,
through December.
is that what it
But
is?
that's not what the original was. Remember how we were gonna go back and
Yeah.
look at that? Honestly, I haven't had a chance to do
Okay,
it. We do have another bill in the checklist for that, but
Okay.
it's,
Jim said we should be getting billed out for the majority of the bridge within the next month, okay? So I asked him for specific, so what does that actually mean? And he goes, well, there's another bridge done at about the same time as yours, and they just called me, the township called me and said that they had received their bill. So he said, you should be getting your bill within the next 30 days. But he also said, you will probably be receiving bills on this bridge for the next 2 to 3 years. He said, so, with saying that, I'm not saying they're gonna be big bills. He goes, majority of them are very small bills, like in the 20s, 10s. He goes, and they can go down as far as a penny. He says, literally, I've gotten them for pennies before. So, but he said we should be getting, the majority of it should be done this month, from what he said.
Rod, did you happen to sign any change orders or anything after you took over the
No.
bridge?
No,
Nothing?
nothing.
Okay, so we had a signed paperwork of 202,000. We had 210 put away for the bridge, so. And if you got 176 spent already, you're gonna need some money put away for the remainder.
Correct. And I just don't know how much. I can't get that answer. Because
A rough
I even
guesstimate, I
asked
would
him,
say 50 grand.
well, and I even asked him, I said, so, are you gonna sit with the bid that you gave us? I know because they had issues pounding those piers in. Are we gonna be charged extra for that? And he said they should stick to what our bid was.
Yeah.
So there
And if
shouldn't be
there was
any
anything
extras
else.
since the bridge started.
Mhm.
So,
there was extras. That
There
we
were
already
extras.
paid for.
But there was nothing signed for yet.
We never signed for the right of way. There was no change order for the right of way. They
There was
just
the
did it.
right of way, and then, you guys had your meeting last, when the heck was that, Patty? Because I listened to it, and you had gravel put on a driveway, and you approved the painting, and then there was some adjustments to the railing, I think it was. Am I correct?
the painting,
Was not figured in originally.
I think it was figured in, but I don't think the epoxy painting was figured in for the actual bridge.
Okay, whatever it was,
And,
because I
yeah,
know I talked
so-
to the engineer, he had called me after the fact. And there was gravel that was gonna be put on that driveway, that
Right.
was not included.
Okay,
There was something on the railing of the bridge too.
okay.
I don't know if it was for the snow or whatever the heck it was. You guys did something different there. And then there was the painting and they,
I don't. There
Okay.
was some seal work on it, but that was,
That was all part of the
yeah, they just didn't have
epoxy on the
time.
bottom.
Yeah,
But I know they kept saying at that meeting, well, we didn't figure that in, and we didn't figure that in, so I don't know how they're gonna charge you for it, so.
Okay,
Who's giving them approval for all this stuff?
yeah, we have not.
You
I
guys
have-
gave them approval, they're over the phone. Tom and Rod, they were at the meeting, and I sat and listened to it. Yeah,
For what?
that was for the bridge,
For what? What did we give approval for?
for the gravel, for them to take care of the gravel, for the painting, and then there was something with the railings for snow. You guys gave them approval over the phone,
The only thing that we talked about was the ice dam down below.
okay?
I don't remember anything on the railing itself.
Yeah, because
Not
they-
saying that it wasn't there, I just don't remember.
Yeah,
The gravel, I don't remember that, but it would make sense that, yes, if they had to
And they
tear
said
that
it
up, they had to
wasn't-
go, yes.
it wasn't figured in, so that would be extra. I mean, you're not talking major,
Right, right.
but it's still out there, so.
And as far as I remember, the painting for the actual bridge, the lines on the bridge, that was figured in, and they asked us if we wanted to do it or not, because the rest of the road didn't have it,
Right.
and we asked them yes,
Mhm.
go ahead and put it on, so they did. As far as I know,
that was shorter than what originally was.
correct, and it was
So
a
the
shorter
county-
distance
county
that they
issued the
did.
contract for that, right?
What's that?
The county issued the contract for that, or the state?
The
Yes.
state,
So who does the change orders go through then?
the chair. Here, he's supposed to sign all that. I know I did, because we had to redo the engineering, and they sent me a new contract.
So if you didn't receive any change orders,
Then you can't go over the,
then they
shouldn't
can't.
be over the 202,
Right,
Yeah,
so
because they should have then submitted a change order for those changes if they felt they were over and above.
any adjustments that they would have made.
Yeah, and they have a certain amount of time that they have to submit that.
Well, I think the state pretty much knew what the hell it was,
they will, and they will,
but we had to test,
so,
so,
right.
because we didn't know if there would be any extra. And the contract said 202. If you need a copy of it, I can get it for you. I got a
Okay.
copy.
I'd just like to at least see it,
Okay.
because,
It's in the office.
Patty we had talked about the right-of-way thing,
Mhm.
and I don't know, was that, did you get billed on that, Patty? Was that 26 or 28?
The right of way,
Yeah,
we had individuals getting paid from anywhere from $50 to $150. Then we had to pay the county $660 and another $150 to record it.
22 or
That wasn't much.
and change, it wasn't, no,
No.
it wasn't, so, okay.
I mean, that was separate from the contract. So,
So we're gonna do anything with the LPA, or wanna leave it sit until the end of the month when the bulk of the.
I'd like to find out what we're actually gonna have in this thing, I personally would. I mean, if you guys wanna allocate whatever you wanna do, that's, I'm definitely up to talking about it, but I think we should find out what we need to have before we spend something that we don't have.
So we can't call the company that did the bridge and ask them what our total will be?
No, because it's all through the engineer at the state.
I asked the question, didn't get answers. And Jim didn't know either, he said it was the state, the state's gonna be sending out a bill, you should be getting it within the next month, is what he said. But we can still get,
That was last week?
that was 2 weeks ago we had our meeting, so it would have been the following week. I had called him the next morning, and he got back to me the day after that. So, that would have been 2 weeks ago.
We should be seeing that soon.
Yeah, yeah, he said it should be here this month, yes.
But if we still have to pay more in the next few years, we won't know what that is, right?
No, but he says that most of those little things coming in are gonna be seriously really small bills, like 20s,
Well,
10s, 8s, pennies,
Oh,
just small little things that trickle in and they just send your bill in.
oh, okay.
So he said they're not big, but just so you're aware, you could be getting stuff in the mail for the next couple of years.
Oh.
And unfortunately, I don't think he can even give me an answer on that.
that's pretty sad.
It is, You would think that the state would quote it right now, saying
You
you're
would
going
that
to
bill now, would you?
So in theory, we owe 26,000 yet, if I did my math right.
Right, that's the number I got, but you
I don't
got these questionable
Yeah.
additions that
Right.
we never got a change order for.
I just don't know.
Okay.
And that's what I'd like to know.
One suggestion for allocation would be, Nicole, you know that check you got from the library?
Oh, yeah.
I would put that away because chances are we're gonna end up paying that back out at the end of the year. Because you did say usage was up,
Yeah.
so I would take a look at that.
Is that what they charge? And you-
By usage, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And that does include
That's
online
hard to
rentals.
budget for. So I guess we're gonna table the allocation until next month.
Hopefully we have the bill by then.
I agree.
We gonna make a motion for that, Patty, or can we just,
We'll be tabling it, yeah.
all right,
I'd like to make a motion to table the allocation for next month. Or at time we have the bill for the bridge, stop bridge.
Wasn't on the agenda.
No action wasn't there, it was just gonna be a.
Just a general discussion.
Mhm.
They have to be an agenda item.
Is there any specific time limit, Patty, that we have to have this
You
done?
guys,
Okay.
you guys, are you gonna approve the financial report as presented and then move on to the allocation of funds, or are we just gonna do the allocation of funds and?
May I have a motion to approve the financial report? as
You already have a motion without a second on the table. You gonna let that die for lack of second, Mr. Chairman?
yeah, we'll let that die for now.
Your
If
motion.
nobody seconds it.
Nobody seconded it.
Okay.
Okay.
Tom's motion died, I made a motion to approve the financial report as presented.
I second that.
I have a motion, a second, to approve the financial report as given by Steve, treasurer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Ayes have it. Wanna try again, Tom?
Do I have to go? Because it's,
Was an agenda item.
it was not
postponed to next
Yeah.
month.
You say the bridge is not gonna done,
The bridge isn't, but the allocation of funds is.
which is part of the bridge.
Correct.
I'm just saying, we're gonna table it until next month.
Yeah,
You
you
just
don't have
leave
to
it.
mention the bridge.
Correct. Okay, so I make a motion to table the allocation of year funds for next month.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
That's
Answer is
what
no.
I'm gonna do with this.
All those in favor of postponing the allocation of funds until next month,
Yeah, that's correct.
say aye.
I
Aye.
Those against, nay. Ayes have it.
We got a sanitary and a zoning permit for property on Dragonfly Road. Department of Administration approved the annexation petition for property on West McMillan. A request was received from American Family Insurance for the subrogation claim documents regarding damage noted in an MCSO case number 22202. I don't know who's working with them on that, but whatever you got, I need. Got a request from the Highway Department for any additional 2022 culvert cost share projects beyond man. And I've got 5 copies of the updated comprehensive plan from the NCW RPC. Also a letter from Wood County Highway Department regarding assessing a special handling fee above and beyond their administration fee of $20 for each load of material, requiring an end loader at the Marshfield and their Rapids location. And your checklist includes checks 18770318817, including EFTs 2022-01 through 08, and 3 voided checks, 18818 in the amount of $1,064,279.05. Also, in addition to the checklist, I would like you to pre-approve a check to Bauer and Fine because they just requested their meter count for the copier contract. It's probably gonna be about $150. I'm estimating the cost. I don't know the cost until they email it, but if we don't do it, then we're gonna be out of money.
What was that for, the printer you said?
Bauer and Fine for the copier contract.
Copy, okay.
And it's gonna be a little bit higher because I did a bunch of election stuff, so it runs anywhere between $111 to $145 a quarter.
When you were talking about the annexation, Rod, did you sign that? I know that we were all copied on that, I probably.
No, I did not, we did not get a chance to get together. We tried one day and. it
It's
did
a
not
mute
happen.
point, the state is done. If the state told me that if we still wanna fill it out and send it in, they will absolutely put it in the file, but it will not have any bearing on their decision because their decision is already made.
And then Tom, the Wood County one is basically every time Pat comes in for anything, whether it's patch, sand, salt, whatever, anytime we load, it's a $20 charge. So in the summer, instead of every morning coming in and getting patch put in, you're probably better off to bring the big truck, and we dump the patch out here, and Pat will just have to load what he wants into the back of it.
Okay.
Um,
So it's just charged for use, not for size?
Right,
Yep.
so
Okay,
it's every time.
every time.
And that's all municipalities that pick up.
What's Gold Rush Hosting Solutions, is that our internet?
The domain and the website hosting,
That's a yearly charge?
that's the domain registration and the hosting, and, he calls it enterprise-like email.
So it's a one-time year charge?
No, he'll send us quarterlies for updating.
Okay.
What was the Dempsey Law Firm one?
Those are 2 different invoices for, the lawyer.
Do you have details on them? Are you looking, sorry?
I'm looking. So one was before the last meeting when I called about the cemetery teleconference with Lori Bauer regarding open record for FEMA application. Message to the chairman on town topics. Teleconference with the sheriff detective regarding criminal complaint. Teleconference with chairman regarding criminal complaint. Teleconference with assistant fire chief regarding records request. Telephone with chairman regarding next board meeting. Clerk email, he requested a copy of the Hill contract. Teleconference with Lori regarding emails. Teleconference with chair regarding ordinance code meeting agenda. Teleconference with chair regarding elected officials as employees. Teleconference with chair regarding items discussed at last board meeting.
Can anyone call the attorney? I thought it had to be limited to only you, Rod, as the chair.
That was the motion. It's never been changed. The motion back in 16 or 17 was that the only people approved to call the attorney without board approval is the chair and the clerk.
So I don't think it's right then that we have other people who are not the chairman that are calling our attorney. And going forward, we should make this correct. I mean, if Lori is concerned, she could take it to you, Rod, and you can call, but even so, these things were, there's what, 3 of them where she called?
I think one, she was contacted by the attorney, maybe, the way it reads, and then the others, it just says teleconference with Lori.
Because otherwise we'll have everybody calling our attorney and then we'll be paying for it.
What was the question, open records or?
I believe so, yes.
I requested a copy of the FEMA grant, and evidently, we have to go through the attorney now to deny that request, because evidently she doesn't know how to print it. So supposedly, I have to wait for 6 weeks in order to get a copy of the grant we applied for. Do any of the board members have a copy? Did any of you get to see it? Rod, did you actually sign it?
I don't believe I did. Maybe I did.
Chairman's supposed to sign the grants.
I might have.
Then you must have seen it, right? In order to sign it?
Whether I saw more than the one sheet, I don't know.
Oh my. Anyway, I'd like to see that grant, and I made an open records request, and I got crap. So we'll move on from there. If I don't get it, I'll turn her in. So it's an open records
So-
request.
So you were told that, who told you?
Lori supposedly sent the grant into FEMA, okay? You do
Yeah.
this all online.
Yeah,
When you get done submitting it, or even before, you can print this off or save it to your computer. I don't know what she did, but she's saying FEMA has the grant and she doesn't have it, so I have to wait for 6 weeks.
Just,
Which is
so FEMA's gonna send it to you then?
no, FEMA ain't
no.
sending me anything.
No, just a minute.
You gonna read it to them?
Debbie made the request at the last board meeting.
Correct.
It was forwarded to the, fire department. I sent it to the fire department on January 11th, which would have been the day after January's board meeting, I think, if I remember correctly. Now I gotta find when it came back.
It was 2 weeks after
I
that.
think it was, well, honestly, if we're gonna talk open records and the law, taking 2 weeks for something to come back is not reasonable.
It's 3 days, man, 3 days.
No, there's not a specific date on open records. On the 20, so that was sent to the fire department on January 11th. On the 24th of January, I got an email back that they have received the open records request that you verbally did on 1/10/2022. We're working on getting the information from the computer program that it was entered into. With the new FEMA grant platform, once we enter the information, it is no longer ours. It then belongs to FEMA. She had to request their permission to retrieve the information. This process could take up to 6 weeks before I will have access to the information. Now, in the legal sense of the law, that is notifying the person making the open request. So we're covered there, we're just not covered on it taking 13 days between one and the other. And I don't know what the FEMA grant was, I don't,
So once it's submitted, you can't go back in there, log in?
Well, that's a bunch of
reprint it?
BS, because I submit grants all the time, and you can save them to your computer or run a copy.
But let's just say you didn't, can you go back in there and download it?
You should be able to.
I can't answer that, I don't know, I didn't.
Patty,
I've not been,
not on that grant, on the MLS grant. Were you able to run a copy?
in their defense, the MLS was not a federal grant under the federal program, it was state. It's a different platform.
Okay, under federal grants, I know you can print them off, because I've done it at home.
I guess I'd be kind of surprised that all of you did not see a copy of what was asked for in the grant. You know,
I mean, you guys should have seen that grant before it ever went out, all of you. You're responsible for it.
I'll throw out two words. Accountability and transparency. What the hell is the, you know, there we'll go back to the fire department. What the hell are they trying to do? It makes no sense.
What if they really can't get this?
Then I'm waiting. I haven't
Okay.
turned her in yet.
Okay.
She's got another
So-
month.
My thought would be on, no,
I
I'm
mean,
no
I'll
computer.
give her the benefit of the doubt
Okay.
because obviously she
And
doesn't
that's
know
what
how
I'm
to print
asking
it
for.
or whatever,
Yeah.
okay? But if I don't get it, I'm turning her in.
And I'm just curious if maybe somehow the format has changed. That
Come on, not since last week.
Hey, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Okay, my thought would be, I'm no computer guy, but if you're doing this grant business,
Yeah.
wouldn't you have saved that somehow or other? I mean, to me, it makes absolute sense you saved this.
Oh, yeah.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, it makes no sense. What the hell are you trying to hide? It makes no sense.
it's the same.
Of course, a lot of shit that goes on over there don't make sense.
I'm not saying they're trying to hide anything,
No, no,
George.
no.
Well, it
I
certainly
don't know. I
appears
mean,
that way, Tom.
I don't know, George. I'm just saying that.
No, I know that, what you're saying, and
Well, I'll tell you,
I'm saying
George.
it appears that way.
The issue is Lori does not want to give me any of my open records requests, okay?
Because you're not fire department friendly.
Evidently not, but I've had issues with other ones in the past also. So get it corrected, do something, because what I'm asking for is not rocket science.
I believe it's in March when we find out if we get approved that grant.
I don't care if you get approved or not right now,
Right.
I want a copy of the grant, and that's what I asked for. So, like I said, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt on the 6 weeks, but after that, if I don't have it by then, I'm turning her in, just so you all know.
Yep. And do you know what that 6 weeks is? The date? Roughly
Pretty much.
From January 24th.
from January 24th?
And she can get on the phone and call the attorney again.
Is that what this attorney bills are? That you wrote?
Some of the
Yeah.
phone
some
calls
of those are-
listed on the bill are,
So what are we trying to do? Compete with Opitz and rack up a $29,500 bill? We got a ways to go yet, but you guys keep going, or not you guys, but you keep going, you're gonna make it. Abuse of power.
So what were some of the
Supposed-
questions on, were you questioning some of the,
Some of the questions that come up, one of the questions was with the open records request, that once it's submitted, once it's done, is that is that now their information? And if it's their information, we have to turn it out publicly, we have to get permission to turn it out publicly. And that's what an open records request is. So that's what she's waiting for, to hear back from them if she can turn it out. If it's our information to be able to.
That's a
turn it
bunch
out.
of crap.
That's all it is.
That is a bunch of crap.
It's a grant.
It's a grant
yeah,
for
it's
a
not,
municipal.
do you have questions with him on,
She wants to
Some of
deny.
the
Some of
agenda
the
stuff?
stuff, some of the agenda stuff and the way that it's worded so that it goes through, yes.
I mean, you get online and see the payroll protection plan that they gave out. Everybody that went and applied for it is listed as public record. An application for a grant should not be any different whatsoever. That's ridiculous.
And I don't know.
I'm gonna do like you
But I
do.
will ask questions.
I'm gonna do like you do, Tom, I'm just gonna shake my head.
I follow up.
And not at you.
I follow up.
But you need
If I
permission
say I'm
to
gonna
call
follow
the
up, I
attorney.
will follow up. I will at least ask the questions. I don't know anything about
Yeah.
these grants, nothing.
So in other words, it isn't that she couldn't get it from FEMA. She's asking FEMA if she can give this out in an open records request. Is that my understanding, Rob?
That's my understanding, yes.
Oh. Oh, this gets better.
I don't know if she has it.
You're married to her. You live in the same
who
house.
got you there?
Maybe there.
Oh, now I can turn her in.
But
God.
Yeah, because that's bad.
I'll ask questions. I don't know. I really don't.
I have more check questions.
Well, let's just, we're on the grant stuff, all grants, everything. Is that something as a board?
We're not on grants, we're on checks.
I know,
Thank you.
so.
You get that, when the comment session comes up,
Yes.
there you go.
Eric and Stephanie Godwinson?
That is a mistake on the special assessment. It's a parcel property without without a residence, and they got charged garbage. It's a refund.
Okay. Same for Eric Wilson.
Eric Wilson is well, the illegal taxes, the word everybody
That's
likes.
for reimbursement.
It's a refund.
Oh,
There's gonna be a lot of those.
Yes, there is a check for a penny, but we have never addressed the fact that you take a certain amount and don't write those checks, so there is a check for a penny.
I saw that one too. Raycon Corporation,
That's batteries for the fire department.
Windshield Wizard, what?
The grader,
So, we have advanced disposal on here.
yes, you have a couple of duplicates on there, so advanced disposal, I talked to them and somehow their billing and our meetings always,
Okay,
I mean, I could tell you if it was last week, we'd get a bill tomorrow.
okay.
You will see duplicate checks for Marshfield, Mid-State, Marathon County Treasurer. The smaller of those duplicate checks, and they're probably the smaller check numbers, are for the January PILT disbursement. The larger of those checks are for your February settlement disbursement.
Okay,
Make sense?
yeah.
Advanced has 2 checks in there just because I argued with this computer system since 1 o'clock this afternoon just to get those checks printed by 5:30. It was fun. So there was probably 5 checks that were refunds from overpayment on taxes. That's Farrah, Olson, Gudmundsson, Karpinski, Splood, Olson. So then you see on the second page, the 2 for advanced, that's just the way the computer did that for some reason. The last listing from 18812 through 18817, that is your total for your February settlement. Up at the top, Marshfield School District, that's your January PILT.
What's on our Visa credit card?
The credit card is a computer stick for the fire department, batteries for the fire department, file folders for Steve, and a backup thumb drive.
Patty, what's Gold Rush Hosting Solutions? It sounds like a porn site. Is that for the fire department?
It's for the website.
That was the first thing I asked George.
I can't hear half of what you guys say. Everybody mumbles, right? You're not too bad.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, one other thing, I guess. The 600 and whatever for the lawyer. What else was involved in that besides Lori, her phone call or
She
whatever?
went through the whole list, George.
I didn't hear her.
You can look at it. That'd be the easiest, Dana?
Yep, that's kind of what I was thinking.
Can I read it out loud to you guys?
I know they already read.
I just did.
It's already been
Right
read.
where I heard it from.
Probably.
Do you have a motion on the table?
No, we don't.
What the hell message on town topics from chairperson?
They're trying to approve the checks, let them get that done.
So what was the extra check number you wanted? 18818?
After the day I've had, please don't.
No, that's void.
Did you see the inclusion of the 3 voided checks because I didn't take the checks out of the printer?
Yep.
Please don't issue a specific number. How about a do not exceed $150 per dollar thing? Because I think it'll be less than that. Will you go with that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank
And I second that motion, if you finished it.
Yeah, it's worded exactly the way she's gonna read it. With the check numbers.
Yeah, but that one.
No further discussion? All those in favor of approving the checks as stated by Patty? Aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. Ayes have it. Checks approved.
The resolution in your packet is to update the credit card with Bankers Bank. Finally got in touch with somebody down at their corporate, and we don't have to fill out another application. That the reason that they want it, even though it's in the town of McMillan, it still has Tanya Holcomb's name on it. And we ran into an issue with that last month when the fire department needed some stuff, so it took a little longer than normal. So I got in touch with the gal, and all she needs is a resolution. If anybody was here that was still on that account when it was open, we wouldn't need this, but Resolution 2022-03 is just updating Bankers Bank account and appointing the authorized signer. We have a credit card with Bankers Bank. The account's in the town of McMillan and a previously appointed clerk. The board's therefore resolved by the town of McMillan, Marathon County, that you're authorizing the treasurer and the clerk to complete any and all necessary documents to update the information related to the account, and that the board authorizes the name to be in the town clerk, which is me.
So are we gonna have a copy of who the bank removes then, once we give them this resolution?
They'll send her a
No.
card.
You're removing Tanya Holcomb from the bank account, or from the credit card account, and they will issue a new card
Okay.
with my name.
I just didn't know if we needed the documentation stored over at the town hall, saying that
Yes.
we removed Tanya, but it doesn't call out Tanya on here, that's why I was wondering.
But it says you are taking the account name of the town of McMillan and a previously appointed clerk and changing it to town of McMillan paragraph.
Okay, fair enough, just making sure.
Okay.
But you're saying it has a different town name?
They have to put a
They-
person responsible.
It has Tanya's name on it, or had.
It's
It
still,
still does.
everything-
Until this is still
it still
signed.
does.
How long ago was she our clerk?
August 19th of 2019. I only know that because I know my appointment date.
Okay.
Now, what just wasn't a priority, it worked up until a couple weeks ago. It didn't work.
I make a motion to sign the resolution to update the credit card account.
I'll second.
A motion to approve and sign the resolution for the credit card. Any further discussion? Unless there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. Resolution passes. Comments from the public?
Am I up?
Yeah, you're up, Troy.
You know, we don't have a problem. Okay, on Sunday, January 16th, I was out on my driveway, blowing, my leaf blower blowing the snow off my driveway. We had 3/4 to an inch, that was it. Pat comes sailing through with the plow, and I thought, holy Christ, you know, this is weird. So anyhow, I'm finishing my driveway, and some guy in a pickup truck, he pulls up, and apparently he knows that I go to meetings and so on. I don't know who he was. And he asked me, he says, what in the hell is this plowing snow for? I said, I suggest you run down and ask him. And he says, well, you know, and he says, you go to meetings, you know all about this. I said, no, I don't really know. But, okay, so anyhow, long story short, I told him, I said, I'll tell you what you do. There's 2 people you can call to find out. One is Rod Bauer, he's the chairman, but I says, chances are he won't answer his phone. And if you ask a question, he probably won't answer it, because he's done that to me in the past. I said, the other guy is you, Tom. I said, and I didn't know your phone number, I'm standing out on the end of the driveway. I said, Tom's a pretty good guy, he will honor your request. I don't know if you ever called you or if you didn't. Okay. So now, my next question in regard to that is, who determines when he goes out to plow? Is he that, does he do that himself whenever he decides, or if he's got a payment that he's gotta make, that he needs the overtime, or what is the deal?
He does well.
He
makes
what?
that- Pat makes that call,
Okay.
yes.
If-
And we did talk about that earlier, whether or not we were gonna actually intervene and say, should we do it, on a 3-inch snow, a 2-inch snow, a 1-inch snow? So,
Well, let me put it this way, he didn't block my driveway when he plowed because there wasn't, honest to God, you don't remember probably, but there was 3/4 to an inch, that was matched, I'm not bullshitting you. And I told the guy though, I said to save his face, he was salting or sanding on the intersection.
yeah,
okay?
probably what he was
You know.
doing.
But you gotta keep in mind too, we live in the country for Christ's sake, everybody's used to driving on slippery roads. To me, that was ridiculous. Okay, the following Sunday, guess what, we had another 3/4 to an inch. Guess who was out there plowing? Now, my wife says, she says, well, it was windy, she says there could be north-south roads drifting, so maybe he was addressing that. So I just was curious on how, if he just says, well, I'm going out and, whatever, so.
He does. Yes,
Okay.
at this point, he does.
Okay, I guess that takes care of that one. Okay, then on February 10th, that would have been Thursday, I believe, huh? There was a fire call, right? McMillan was out on a fire call, do you know that?
And he went on it.
Thursday, I believe that.
Don't talk in your hand, I can't understand a word you're saying.
I don't know which one it was on Thursday now.
You what?
I don't know which call it was, but
It would have been Thursday, this last Thursday, you guys can't be that busy.
Not, and the one up on Abe Lincoln, wasn't it?
No, that was Harms, I think.
What I'm asking is, where was the fire that you guys went to? And there's a reason I'm asking. Do you know?
I don't know which fire, no, I do not know.
Okay, my understanding that there was a fire up on, what the hell, Lincoln, up on C, Highway C someplace.
Yeah, the Abe
Abe
Lincoln.
Lincoln's and
was-
Abe Lincoln's, yes.
Abe Lincoln.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what in the hell did the fire truck go roaring by our place on Thursday afternoon if they're heading up on C?
Wouldn't it make more
I
sense?
don't know who's, first off, was it our truck?
Yeah,
Because we've had calls in the past where Hewitt will come across and they'll take gallons
This
or
one
something
said
across and send it
McMillan.
through.
okay, that's our truck. Yeah, why, they went out, they went past our house, I did not understand that one.
I thought maybe they were going on a pizza run before they went to the fire. I didn't really know, but I thought that was weird that they went sailing by our place. Especially after I found out that the fire was up on Highway C or whatever. the hell.
Up a C on Abe Lincoln,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
Because they did.
The
They went
mailboxes
past
that
our house.
got run over with the snowplows by whoever, did they get fixed? Have they been fixed?
Everyone I've been contacted with or know about, yes. I fixed 2 of them myself. The one Patty told me about, I went the next morning and drove by.
That's not Patty next year.
Or,
I know who he was talking about.
Sorry, Nicole.
I think you guys all did too,
Thank
but
you.
it's okay.
Yeah, sorry Patty, sorry Nicole. Anyway,
Don't you feel foolish?
I do, yes.
I've been called.
And red, like that. Anyway, Nicole told me about one at our last meeting, and the next morning I drove by and I did not see the mailbox down. So I had actually texted her and asked her if I can get the actual address, because I figured I'd drive by and see it laying there.
Okay,
He had already fixed it, he said. Nicole got back to me and said he had already fixed it.
well, that leads me up to my next question. How come you're fixing them? It's nice of you to do
Just,
it.
it's easy for me. I got my truck, my work truck, I always have stuff in there to fix mailboxes. So if I hear about one, I'll drive by and I'll fix it. And seriously, it's seconds for me to fix it.
No, very nice
And
of you
it's
to do
not
that.
for me, it's not a
right,
big
it's
deal.
nice. I better not ask this one, I'm pretty sure I go ballistic. Oh, I know. Okay, this abortion over here with running the cable and cutting the cable and all this bullshit. What was the bottom line for cost on that? What did the cable cost? What did everything involved running that, do you have any numbers on that? I'm really curious.
You know,
Just replacing the cable?
Yeah, what did the cable cost?
Well, 226, I think is what the cable was, wasn't it? Because that's what it was, something on that order before that, the first one we bought. But then wasn't it, how much was it for Riegels to come and cut it for you?
That was 1,800, wasn't it?
free.
Oh, no, they charge us for it.
I'm just curious, now, is this cable, is this laying on top of the ground out here? Is that what it is? You didn't
Yes,
bury
the
it,
ground
right?
is
No, it
frozen.
needs to be put in the ground, yeah.
So,
Got your calculator, George?
no.
Let's get, well,
Just run the totals off, Patty.
What you got, Patty?
He'll
You
figure
got
it
a
out.
pencil? Are you ready?
he's good.
I'm not.
$1,735, $263.70, and $7.96.
It's a little over
No,
2
a
grand.
little over 2 grand.
Okay, there you go.
And now you still gotta bury the goddamn thing, right?
Yeah.
Then it does. Okay, yeah, that answered that question. Patty, have you been getting invoices from the fire department on purchases and stuff like that? Like, remember you were saying, I think it was last meeting, that they were real slack on that and.
Yes, they actually got him almost a week early this time. That was very
Really?
good.
Well, good for them. Full time. Here's one more thing. I think it would be a really good idea if our chairman would give a report at monthly meetings. And the reason I say that is, you can update us on all your lawyer fees and all the stuff that we should know about. Granted, there ain't a whole lot of people here tonight, but nevertheless, we are all residents and we are all interested, otherwise we wouldn't be sitting here listening to this. And I think it would be a really good idea, and I don't know why you haven't taken it upon yourself to do that. And that's it. Oh, you were on fire call, right?
Correct.
What?
Yes,
I thought you weren't supposed to do that no more. Because of your, whatever, you got some kind of illness or whatever the hell, that you're no longer with the fire
I'm
department.
not allowed to go into a burning building, no. I'm not allowed
You
to
what?
I'm not allowed to put a breather on and go into a burning building anymore, no.
I see.
There's a lot of support things that are around that I can do.
Okay. Okay, I understand. Okay, that's it for me, that's all I got.
Got a busy, you can do that.
Need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
A motion and a second to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay.
Okay, Patty, what do we need set up for tomorrow?
Sure, man, thank you very much, appreciate it. Pleasure doing business with you.
As always, George.
I hate it when I'm talking to somebody, I forget their name when I'm in conversation.
Oh, I'm guessing I'm not gonna get invited over. Nor would I want to, quite nothing.
Seven to seven. Everybody's been on seven.
I don't know who the hell you look for. Seriously.
For school board,
Oh, yeah. Well, FedEx is on us anyway.